Return the gold you took from Burkina Faso's vaults. Return the 90% of Niger's uranium profits you still collect. Return the billions in stolen reserves you hold in your banks. Return the artifacts you used to decorate your guild. You say, but this is complicated. No.
Foreign mining companies have been making over $20 billion a month from African soil, while paying the host countries less than $1 billion a year. But it's real. The government of Togo has just suspended all mining licenses held by foreign companies.
A bold move to regain full control of its natural resources. This decision follows the footsteps of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, who earlier kicked out foreign mining giants after discovering massive profit exploitation. These companies were extracting gold and other resources, but returning very little value to the people of Africa. Now, nations like Namibia, Ivory Coast, and even South Africa are reportedly considering similar actions. Togo is sending a clear message. Africa's wealth must benefit Africans first.
In the context of gold production in Burkina, for a long time it was said that we were not a gold-producing country, but for some time now, gold has become the #1 export product. But we have no control over the gold, whether it's exploration, production, or as you have seen, refining. We asked ourselves a lot of questions, and today we have decided to set up an entire chain. As you are following with APEC, we want to mine the gold ourselves. Today, we are laying the first stone of the refinery. We will no longer have to send our gold abroad for refining. We will refine it on site, and we will know the actual content of the raw gold that comes out. That is very important. And also, through Sonaspe, we are in the process of... It's a way to invite local gold miners to bring the gold back inside the country, because Sonaspe is the organization that will buy the gold so that we can refine it here. A lot of gold leaves Burkina Faso illegally, and this actually helps to fund terrorism. So we are encouraging gold miners, whether they are collectors or others, to bring the gold to the central area. And at the same time, we are also urging Sonaspe to increase the number of collection points in order to gather more gold. And in addition to this refinery, I hope that in the coming days, we will have another even more important project underway. This concerns the treatment of waste. A plant that was designed by Burkinabe engineers, which is currently in the testing phase. And we hope that in the coming hours, they will tell us that the test has been successful. And so this creates a complete chain to add value to our gold.
Ethiopia is building a range of military weapons, including ammunition and unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. The Homicho Ammunition Engineering Complex produces various types of munitions for use by the military. Additionally, Skywin Aeronautics Industry manufactures UAVs, which can be used for surveillance, reconnaissance, and potentially combat operations. These efforts reflect Ethiopia's goal to enhance its self-reliance in defense capabilities. Before Ethiopia started developing its own weapons, it imported military equipment from several countries. Historically, Ethiopia has received arms and military technology from nations like Russia, China, and the United States. These imports included a variety of military hardware, such as small arms, artillery, aircraft, and armored vehicles. The country has relied on these imports to meet its defense needs while developing its domestic capabilities. Many African nations, including Ethiopia, are working towards becoming more self-reliant in various sectors, including defense. By developing their own capabilities, these countries aim to reduce dependency on foreign suppliers and better address their own needs. This shift can contribute to greater autonomy and strengthen their overall development. Having a strong and independent military can be a crucial aspect of a nation's sovereignty and autonomy. It allows a country to protect its interests, maintain security, and respond to challenges on its own terms. This kind of self-reliance can empower nations to make decisions that align with their own goals and values. Ibrahim Traore's leadership indeed seems to have had a significant impact in inspiring a sense of self-reliance among African nations. Leaders who promote sovereignty and self-sufficiency can motivate other countries to pursue similar paths. It reflects a broader movement across the continent toward greater independence and the ability to shape their own futures.
France's energy sector has also taken a hit. Total Energies, the country's largest oil and gas company, once controlled major oil fields in Chad, Gabon, and West Africa. With Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso severing ties, Total Energies has lost access to cheap energy resources. Mali and Burkina Faso have turned to Russia and Middle Eastern nations for energy deals. Niger has frozen oil exports to France, opting instead to partner with China. This has forced France to rely on expensive imports from the US and the Middle East, increasing its energy costs by 25%. The loss of African energy reserves has not only hurt Total Energies, but also weakened France's position in the global energy market. The expulsion from the Sahel has exposed the fragility of France's economy. For decades, France's economic strength was artificially sustained by African wealth. Without access to cheap uranium, gold, oil, and minerals, France is losing its competitive edge. The French government is now facing rising energy costs, declining corporate revenues, and a growing trade deficit. The loss of the Sahel has also sparked anti-French sentiment in other former colonies, such as Senegal, Chad, and Cameroon, where governments are reconsidering their economic ties with France. If this trend continues, France risks losing its remaining strongholds in Africa, permanently cutting off the wealth that has sustained it for over a century. The dismissal of France from the Sahel marks the end of an era defined by exploitation and inequality. The leaders of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have made it clear, Africa will no longer be a source of wealth for foreign powers. As France grapples with its economic crisis, the Sahel nations are forging new partnerships with countries like Russia, China, and Turkey, ensuring that their resources benefit their people first. The question now is, will France accept its defeat and adapt to a new world order, or will it cling to the remnants of its colonial past? One thing is certain, the Sahel has spoken, and the world is listening.
If only the world could understand that we could make peace through culture, we would live better, we would live happily. There is nothing better than that. Unfortunately, that has not always been the case, and it is not ready for tomorrow. But we are counting on you to be able to change the world. Today, geopolitics, as we observe it, does not necessarily lead us towards a better tomorrow. But we are convinced that through the culture of each people, we can weave bonds of friendship, love, and brotherhood for a better world. Thank you for coming to Burkina Faso. Thank you to those who have conveyed this message. Burkina Faso stands tall, remains resilient, because your presence is not just to participate in FESPACO, but it's a message you send to your respective homelands and to the entire world. That Burkina Faso stands tall and that we continue to do so. To live and that we can. Thank you for coming, thank you. For giving us the human warmth we needed. I hope your stay goes very well and that everyone returns to their country in good health. It can't be perfect, that's for sure, but we will continue to improve and prepare for 2027 eventually. In any case, thank you for the friendship. Thank you for the brotherhood. I believe in cinema. And I often say to the minister that through cinema, people have dominated the world. Through cinema, we must also be able to promote our cultures and reclaim our place in the world stage. We cannot continue to consume. That's what they want to impose on us. We must manage to create. Many people or many states did not understand the meaning of cinema. And I hope the awakening is now that we can give value to our productions. That we can encourage our productions and ensure that filmmakers from all over the world can meet in circumstances like this. And I say it again, the world would be better if we understood that it is through culture that we can weave these bonds of love and fraternity. I am convinced, and we will do everything possible, so that our cinema and you filmmakers can live from your art. And we can create to educate. Because the primary goal of cinema is to educate. And education, when we make a film about our culture, is to show a younger generation certainly how our ancestors lived in good harmony, how our parents lived in good harmony, what are the values we must uphold today, incorporate and also live in good harmony with our neighbors. The loss of culture therefore leads to all sorts of declines in society. And it leads us to what we are experiencing. Wars have not ended, disputes have not ended. And who better than you behind the camera to show current and future generations what is the right way to live? What are the values to draw from our cultures to live in good harmony with ourselves and with nature? So I can only encourage you. Congratulate the world of cinema, and I can tell you that we will spare no effort to give the best of ourselves so that your works can improve and communicate with generations, educate them, and ensure that peace reigns in the world. Through you, I believe we can live in peace. Thank you. Why make war if we can meet and experience such moments? In any case, I urge you to spread the message. Continue to educate through cameras, through images. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the cinema festival. Please farewell. This weekend, therefore, it will be, thank you, the final clap. And so we will eventually see the happy ones. But everyone comes out a winner in this affair because it brought us closer. It has created bonds of love, of brotherhood, and that's what we are looking for. Through cinema, we become more than ever brothers. Thank you very much. Thank you for participating, and may God keep each and every one of you.
Our standard is not Paris. It is not Washington. It is not London. Our standard is the soil from which we came. The drumbeat of our ancestors, the cry of our mothers, the dignity of our mothers, and the dreams of our children. You look at me and see a soldier, but I am not just a man in uniform. I am a messenger of generations who bled for a future they were never allowed to see. I carry not just bullets, I carry burdens. The burden of truth, the burden of justice, the burden of a people who refuse to be forgotten. You wanted to frame me as a dictator, but I serve no empire. I answered to no foreign master. And that to you is the real crime. What frightens you is not Ibrahim Traore. It is what he represents. A man who bows only to his people and his creator. A man who does not ask for applause from those who orchestrated our pain. So you dig, you invent, you speculate, you enable it all, because that's all you have left, libels. But here's what you don't understand. When the truth begins to rise, no amount of ink can bury it. When a nation finds its voice, no propaganda can mute it. And when Africa wakes up, the world must adjust. We are not perfect. We have wounds. We have lessons to learn. But we are no longer learning from you. We are learning from our past. From Sankera, from Okrumah, from Amumba, from our own sky.
Their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime.
He talked about Burkina Faso's gold, saying that we ourselves and all that. First of all, it's Burkina Faso's gold, it's not his gold. That's the first thing. What business is it of his? It's none of his business. It's Burkina Faso's gold, it doesn't concern him. Second thing, he's lying. Because Burkina Faso never had any gold reserves until we came along. We are the ones who started setting aside gold for the treasury of Burkina Faso. Otherwise, there wasn't a single gram of gold reserves in Burkina. That means he's a liar again. Another thing, when he says we use it to protect ourselves and all that, we are free. If the people have decided that we should govern them, we have a duty to protect ourselves. So we are free. What business is it of his? And the part that hurt me the most, not because he's a general or because he's American or anything like that, but because he's black. It really hurts to see a black man being used to fight against another black man. And this didn't start just now. It has to stop. You see, it's very dangerous. Even Libya. Who destroyed Libya? Once again, they used a black man. In movies back in the day, in America, black people always played the bad guy. But we know that's just in the movies. But why do black people have to keep playing the bad guy? I think that if he heard this interview, he should look at himself in the mirror. So you have a very important role to play, as do all the media, in awakening the consciousness of Africans. There you go. I said that we are here so that young people wake up. We're not here with the intention of looting or anything like that. We want to build Africa. And if young people aren't awakened, they'll be lulled to sleep. These Western media sing our praises, saying we're doing well, we're doing well. But no, that's not true. We want people to know when things aren't going well for us. That's it, and for others to take over when needed. But when they also lie and say things aren't going well, we'll prove the opposite.
So keep communicating and raising awareness in Africa. In any case, we are free to establish relations with whomever we choose. That is what independence means. So on this matter, they can continue to think whatever they want. As for us, we will go wherever we want, as long as the partnership can, in any case, be mutually beneficial for both parties. Regarding those remarks, as you mentioned, we protested through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That was one thing. But I don't know what happened with that general. There is still a problem. And I would perhaps like him to admit his mistake if he was sent, and to understand that this was not the right mission. If he was misled, he should say so publicly, or otherwise admit before the Senate that he was mistaken. Or also, if it was done with bad intentions, well, we will confront him as we should, because everything he said is a lie. And it's really shameful to see an adult lie, to see an adult, a general officer of a great army lie. This is very serious. First of all, he talked about Burkina's gold being used for what? For us, to protect ourselves and all that. First, it's Burkina's gold, it's not his gold. That's the first thing. What business is it of his? It's none of his business. It's Burkina's gold. It doesn't concern him. Second thing, he's lying. Because Burkina never had any gold reserves until we came. We were the ones who started setting aside gold in the treasury of Burkina Faso. Otherwise, there wasn't a single gram of gold reserves in Burkina. So that means he's a liar, again. And another thing, when he says that, we use it to protect ourselves and all that. We're free. If the people have decided that we should govern them, we have a duty to protect ourselves. So we are free. What business is it of his? And the part that hurt me the most, not because he's a general or because he's American or anything like that, but because he's black.